For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another Live and Amplified podcast. I am your host, Tom Quiet, reporting to you from Tallahassee, Florida, once again, and I am sitting here with Leah Sutter. I get to say your last name right?
It's Leah Sutter.
Ah.
It's okay. It's the gimmick of my name sometimes.
Okay. And she's visiting Tallahassee from Tavernier.
Yep.
It's going to come out eventually, which is quite interesting because I just came from Isla Morada, and if you don't know your Florida Keys, they're like neighbors.
Pretty much. One right runs into the other one.
Yeah. And so we're sitting here in Tallahassee, and we're going to talk some music. We're going to talk some fun. We're going to talk whatever. So first off, first question I always ask is, what got you into music?
Probably there was just something in me when I was young that just loved to express myself with singing before I even knew how to talk. I mean, my parents would tell me how before I knew actual words, I was trying to wail into a microphone and sing and I think that was just something inherently already in me. And then I also have a very musical family. I had parents who love music, both play guitars, both have sang, both have been in bands, and I have a couple siblings too who also music has been a part of their life in some way. So growing up in that environment, I was surrounded with people who loved music, so I think that helped me also further express that inside me.
Nice. Are you born and raised in Tavernier?
Yep, I am.
Nice. And so you're part of the whole ICE community and the music.
Yeah.
That was one of the big things that they were really promoting this weekend, and it sounds really cool. They were talking about going over all the people that have gone on to other places, and it's like, man, I kind of wish I had something like that when I grew up.
Right, yeah, it's a very special, thing to be a part of, and one of the big proponents of ICE is that it's based on raising scholarship money for students, and a lot of my peers and me and myself have benefited from those scholarships. So because of that, we all are somehow tied to that organization as like a community as well.
Cool. And then you're also no stranger to Tallahassee. You went to school here, FSU.
Yep. Go Noles.
Fear the Spear.
Absolutely.
And actually, that's what brought you up to FSU in Tallahassee was.
Well, when I was applying to schools, my goal of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to major in was music. Of course, you hear about FSU's music school and how amazing it is. And I had applied to a lot of different places, mostly out of state. Growing up my entire life in the Keys, I was definitely ready for a change. I was ready to get out of South Florida. Didn't apply to anywhere south of Tallahassee. Yep. And I had a couple friends that had gone to school here, and I had come on a few school trips in high school, and I was familiar with FSU and the campus, and I had friends here, I knew staff here, so it was kind of one of those easy, top 5 schools, apply, see what happens. At first, FSU was actually the last choice for me. I wanted to go to Tennessee, to Nashville, and ended up getting a really nice scholarship to Florida State. It was an academia scholarship, and I couldn't pass it up, and it was in state, and had a lot of people telling me, oh, you just got to come here, do the School of Music, this and that, and ended up here at FSU. I ended up not majoring in music after all at the end, but absolutely was so happy to be here. It was definitely the best decision to have been here. One of those, I wanted something else, but then the fact that I came here, this was what was meant, definitely over anything I was wanting before.
Understood. That's awesome. So, who are some of your musical influences?
Growing up, like my parents played a lot of music in the house. Um, my mom played a lot of like Joni Mitchell, Alison Krauss, Nora Jones, James Taylor. A lot of that was being played. My dad always really liked the bluesy kind of stuff because he learned like blues guitar,
Hmm.
and then my mom always was a singer and when she was my age and playing acoustic guitar and definitely more of that folk influence. But I definitely have clung on to some of those influences with
Hmm.
like Alison Krauss is a big one with her voice and the way she sings and she plays music. I've always listened to Joni Mitchell, songwriter, playing with guitar, fronting her own band, something I was able to do at one point. I also really liked Nora Jones, the style of her voice. And then Eva Cassidy was probably one of my biggest influences. Just a woman, songwriter with a guitar who will play in front of other people. And her voice just was something I really resonated with because it had a lot of truth to it. And that's, as a singer myself, I try to resonate with that as being truthful when I sing.
Nice. Now, for the uninitiated, what's one of your shows? What can somebody expect when they come to one of your shows?
So when you come to one of my shows, one of the things that I think about when I perform is I don't necessarily stick to a genre or one style of artist if I am covering other people. I like to think of when I perform, I'm going to be playing at least one song that's someone's favorite song in this room. So you're not going to get 3 or 4 hours of straight country music
Hmm.
or straight folk or straight pop. Like if I see and I look around the room, on the demographic of the type of people, like I might alter my set around that. So I may see someone who I could tell is maybe older generation and likes more classics. So I
Hmm.
might play a Beatles song or
Nice.
I might play like a Fleetwood Mac song. And then I see maybe a high school teenager and I might throw in Taylor Swift or a Beyonce song and just to see these little moments around the room where someone's song got played, then I feel like I've walked away with everyone in that room got pleased by something that night.
I really like it when musicians do that. There was when I was living in Roswell, there was this one musician I'd never seen her play before. I'd worked with her brother a lot. He was in a metal band we had worked with, and his sister came on at a local coffee shop there, and she started playing like what I would assume is her go-to set, and then like the crowd was a younger crowd, and as she started going deeper into her set, she started doing more like modern, and then as
Right.
the night went on, the crowd got a little bit older, and then she molded into like more 90s cover,
Right,
which was
right.
really cool because I mean I listen to a lot of different types of music, so watching it go from like Ed Sheeran to watching her do like NSYNC covers,
Right.
which was
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah, I definitely identify with that a lot.
Yeah. It's always good when somebody's willing to kind of mold their set around the audience. I know a lot of musicians that just kind of, this is my set, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you're playing all 90s songs. These kids are 12 years old. They're not going
They
to
don't
know.
know it. Or you have, you're playing all 2000s or, 2010 and above, and you've got a crowd that has no idea the music you're
Hmm.
playing,
Yeah.
and people can come up to you and ask, "Oh, did you write that?" I'm like, "No,
No.
I didn't write it, but it got released 6 months
Yeah.
ago." Of course, no one,
Yeah.
would probably would know it in that
Yeah.
crowd. So that's why, like, I really try and be as diverse,
Yeah.
as I can with my set list, which is something um, I do get told a lot was, "Oh, thank you for playing this song and this song. It's so diverse. The audiences really can connect to so much more of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't want to segregate the crowd.
Yeah.
Like if I do have a couple country fans and I play a couple country songs, like." It didn't matter to them that I didn't play 3 hours of straight country.
Yeah.
The fact they got the Keith Urban song they
Yeah.
liked, that made it a night for them.
Yeah.
But then someone else in the crowd is getting a song they like.
Yeah.
So I really try and embody that of, bring everyone together, and I do covers and I also do originals
Hmm.
and I talk to the people about the originals I do and it seems more and more they're very responsive to that and I take requests and I'm a very open kind of person. Anyone can come up and talk to me and talk to music on one of my breaks, or talk to me about a cover they want played or something. And it's very kind of open and interactive in that way.
Nice. Now going into your originals, what's your creative process kind of like when you're writing?
When I'm writing, I am one of the things I fault myself honestly on is I'm a super perfectionist. So I when I get into the writing process, sometimes it's always like butt heads with myself between just writing and getting whatever's in my head on the paper versus like this has to be a hit. This has to be amazing when I write it. So sometimes when I sit down, it's just like, all right, I just got to write whatever's going on, and I could trash it tomorrow, or it could be something really special. Um, and I usually try to be as honest when I write. And a lot of times, what I write about is relationships and love and friendships and experiences like that. And I find that I connect to that the best. I find that when I sing it or play it, that people connect to it as well. Um, and most of the time, lyrics are what come first to me. I'll just write words down, and then I'll come up with a melody, but then trying to match that to the guitar or to, I also play ukulele or to a piano, and then trying to mold those things together is sometimes the little bit more difficult part of writing the song. But usually I can just sit down, I'll just write, and then all right, pick up the guitar, and how am I going to put music to this now? I know sometimes people, they just write a guitar part, and like, all right, now how am I going to put words to this guitar? So it's kind of the opposite in ways for me.
Understood. That's. Are you supporting an album right now? Do you have an album out or?
I have one album right now. I'm in the process now of putting another one out. I was with a band that actually played a lot here in Tallahassee called Leah and the Aviators. We were a band that was comprised of members of people from my high school. We all knew each other growing up in the Keys. Actually, one of them is Dave Fader's son.
Okay.
Nyan. So we were in a band in high school that started my senior year. I came to Florida State.
Did you guys play Bay Jam a couple years ago?
We did, yes.
Okay, my mother was at that, and she was like, there was this band, they were from FSU. I don't remember what their name was, but it was a girl front, and I was like, oh.
That was me.
Nice.
And we played some shows up here. We played Sidebar when Sidebar was still around in Tallahassee. We played Fire Betty's. We played Grasslands, Gain Street Festival every year.
Nice.
We did a couple other songwriter festivals around Florida.
Nice.
We always came down to Bay Jam, Wolfstock, Island Fest.
Nice.
Came down for those things. So
I have to start getting into the Keys music scene a little bit more. You guys got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, we were super busy, and we put out an album which was comprised of half and half. Like, so a lot of the songs on our little album that we did, it was an EP called Air Ride. That was songs that I lyrically had written, and I had put melodies to and put it on a guitar, and I had them as like my own like singer-songwriter type of songs. But the band had a more alternative adult contemporary vibe to it. So it was bringing then those kind of more acoustic tracks, and then I brought them to my bandmates, and then we would kind of you'd add electric guitar, you'd add keyboard, drums, bass, harmonies, make it kind of a bigger production. And so we did that with a bunch of songs that I had written, and then we wrote one song together all lyrically, and it was called Air Ride, which was the title of the album. And so we put that out. We ended up doing a show at Lake Ella in the gazebo. And doing an album release and all of that. So it's 7 tracks. So that was a big thing that was our own production. It was all recorded in the Keys, and then we edited it and mixed it up here in Tallahassee, and then released it out of Tallahassee. And yeah, that was probably about like 7 years of my life, 6-7 years dedicated to that and writing for that. And then just as life goes, I graduated, everyone else graduated,
just kind of moved up.
Yeah, things happen in life, and different musical projects happening in different directions, and we're kind of all over the country now,
Yeah.
but in really cool spots, and we've all been doing different opportunities and pursuing that, but all still like best friends, really good, tight,
That's
we
always
don't.
good when you can leave on good terms.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we grew up all together in the Keys in the island. I mean, and there is, we call each other Keys kids, all the Keys conks, and even though we don't get to do that project anymore, or we perhaps don't get to talk all the time or see each other all the time, it's in the spectrum of what a lot of bands go through. Like ours was, kind of one of those. Well, it didn't work out, but we have become better as musicians for sure because of our time together. And if anything were to arise for someone, then like we would all be there to support or see what would happen. So coming out of that now has been the process of being a solo artist. Is now how do I write for myself now?
Yeah.
Because I was writing,
For a group.
and I was trying to represent 5 different voices along with my own, and now how do I represent just myself? So after I graduated, moving back to the Keys and being a solo artist down there, and now it was time for, all right, let me just write for me. So now I've just been writing for the past year and a half. So now I've gotten those songs kind of compiled. So then the next few months
Did you just recently graduate from?
I did. So I graduated May 2016.
Okay.
So pretty recent graduate.
Because I reached out to you a year ago, last Bay Grass, so 2017, and you were still up in Tallahassee, I think, maybe, or
I don't know. Or I came a couple times to Tallahassee.
Okay.
Because the band was still performing. I had graduated, and the rest of my members were still here at school. They were at the College of Music. So we did a couple shows at the end of 2016 together here in Tallahassee. But then after that, I was pretty much back full time in the Keys, but still trying to figure out like my scheduling and where do I fit as an artist down there. But now I'm pretty like full time down there at the moment, except for times like this where I randomly pop up in Tallahassee.
It was quite funny when I messaged you earlier this week, and you're like, "Oh, I'll be in Tallahassee." And it's like, all right, let's see if we can get this scheduled out. Because originally I was supposed to stick around. I was supposed to work springtime Tallahassee, but with all this rain we've had.
Oh yeah, that was awful on Saturday. That rain. I have not seen that kind of weather again since I was here last. So you don't get that too often in the Keys.
Especially when I was out in the desert. Like we'd get like a fraction of that rain, but it was being out in the desert, they don't have the drainage.
Right.
So like even a fraction of like what, I don't know if we got rain today, but it's. But so what's the music scene kind of like in the Keys? Is it like an upper lowers key type thing, or is it all pretty much all for one?
It's definitely separated. There's upper, middle, and lower.
Okay.
So you have I'm pretty much in the upper Keys mostly. So you got Key Largo, Tavernier, Islamorada, or Manicumbi area. I do play sometimes in the middle Keys. I'll play in Layton, which is right outside of Marathon, which is the heart of the middle Keys. And I've even gone down and played at Ramrod right outside of Key West. But I mean, each kind of area has its own unique set of artists, especially Key West. Key West is very different from the rest of the Keys. And I mean, it has the mentality of tourist town. You got people coming from all over the world. You got artists from all over the world. It's party, go, live music,
Very
live
much,
shows, late into the night type of deal. You have the cruise lines that go down there too as well. So that's a very different scene than what I'm in, which is very much the restaurant scene. It's very more laid back, a little quieter. A lot of people kind of that live in that area. Some have either retired there or maybe they grew up there and they've gotten married and they've come home to raise their children because the Keys is a wonderful place to raise a family. It's such a strong community village type of atmosphere to grow up in. So they it's very different than music that's happening, and just the environment.
Yeah.
You have gigs in Key West or even possibly in Marathon where you're going to be playing to like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because everyone's still going.
Yeah.
Versus I end at 9 because all the restaurants close at 9,
Yeah.
and everyone goes home and goes to bed at 10.
Yeah.
So
But going to what you said about the Keys being a very tight knit community,
Yeah.
even the small times or the few times that I've been down there, they remembered me from the first time I was there
right,
a year ago, and it's like nothing.
yeah.
And went to Hog Heaven.
Oh my goodness,
That
yeah.
is, like, I've seen a few bands play there. I love
Yeah.
watching bands play there because they're kind of out of the way, out on that little
They're like the
dock.
dock,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
The
it's
famous
like-
hog.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love it down there. If I could get a job down there, like I've
Right.
said.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful place to be in, and even growing up there and then leaving there for like 4 or 5 years and being up here in Tallahassee full
You become
time.
to appreciate it a little bit
Oh,
more.
absolutely. I mean, it's just like anywhere you grow up, and if that's what your environment is for years on years, you do tend to take advantage a little bit, of the opportunities you had there and where you live. And I'd go to school and people would ask, can I come home with you on spring break and hang out in the Keys? Or, do you jet ski to work every day? I'm like, no, I don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not that,
Yeah.
But
I mean, although you probably could.
you
Depending
definitely could.
Yeah.
There are people that, they live on sailboats, they live on boats, they, paddleboard to, I just saw recently, there's like a paddleboard bar hop you can
Oh,
do.
yes. I
And
saw
you
that
can,
on- yeah.
you can stop. A couple of my friends actually run that, and you can go to the different bars on the water and just hop along and be on your paddleboard. And I
Nice.
mean, this is one of the unique parts of the Keys. But when I came back home after being gone for so many years, that was like that same feeling. It was like nothing has, it's like time never changed, but you've changed as a person. But you're coming home and it's still that warm welcome from the Keys and maybe a new restaurant here and there, but that vibe that it gives off is always it's just the Keys way. I think.
I've never had a bad experience at any of the restaurants down there.
Yeah.
I love the fish, of course.
Oh
in
yeah.
Florida.
Oh yeah. Fish and seafood there is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, like if you can get out in the water yourself and you can catch it, or you can go on like a charter boat or a fishing guide, and then you take your catch in and enjoy it there. And it's cooked by amazing people. And
I've fished over on the East Coast or where my parents are at, and over by West Palm, but I've never fished down in the Keys.
Oh, you got to go sometime. I mean, they call Islamorada the fishing capital of the world because you get on that back country and you just find the most amazing fish. My dad, when him and my mom got married, they were from Indiana and they moved to the Keys and decided to have a family. My dad was a fishing guide for over 20 years in the back country, so I grew up on a fishing boat like all the time, wanting to go fishing with my dad. And that's just become second nature to so many people that grow up in the Keys, is just knowing the waters and knowing to fish. And
when I was driving across the bridge, there was this bridge from Key Largo to Florida City. There was a sandbar. There were people that posted, they were doing some fishing off the sandbar. And I was like, I'm sitting there, because I could see them for about a good 2 or 3 miles, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out how they got there, because like it's in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't see a boat or anything. And then as I'm coming up closer, I see there's a part of the fence that's just kind of not there. It's like, oh, that's how they got there. That's interesting.
They'd find a way to get what they want in there and then to get out in that water.
Nice. To backtrack a little bit, where in Indiana are your parents from?
So my dad is from Marion, and my mom is from Bloomington.
Okay, cool.
Grew up there. My dad was a basketball player, as many people are. He's 6'9",
Nice.
which is interesting because whenever when he was in the Keys, they recently just relocated out of the Keys. my dad played in a band when I was growing up. He played in like a little blues rock band, and they played at some of like Bay Jams and Island Fest. They're called the Second Chance Band.
Okay.
You know, the second chance at life, because Five Guys with Mortgages was already taken, so they had to do the Second Chance Band.
That's a great name for a band.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
so you see him on stage on that amphitheater at a Bay Jam, and the guy's like almost 7 feet tall, playing his little electric that looks like a Guitar Hero, like guitar on him. It's quite hilarious.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they have always like loved music, and a big part of that growing up where they did in Indiana as well.
Nice. I only ask because I grew up in northern Illinois and I went to school in southern Illinois, so I'm kind of familiar with the western part of Indiana.
Oh, okay, yeah. My mom went to IU, and I have a couple cousins that have gone to Butler, played basketball for Butler University, some at Ball State, some at Indiana Wesleyan, and that entire area.
Yep. It's actually, I'm kind of surprised because usually a lot of people are always moving to Indiana. Like where we live, at least where I lived, everybody's moving to Indiana.
Right.
But
I just know a lot of people who left because they couldn't handle, like my parents, and they were done with that snow, that cold winter. Especially my mom. She's like, I want sunshine and water. Well, so they said the Keys.
That's what my parents ultimately did.
Mm-hmm.
They got both the kids out. And it's like, okay, we're moving to Florida.
Right.
Wasn't to the Keys, but my dad works out of Lauderdale. He's a pilot, so it's one of those situations. He was always down here, so. So I know you got a flight to catch here relatively at
7:30.
7:30. Okay.
I've actually never flown out of Tallahassee before because living here, I mean, it's like an arm and a leg to pay for a flight.
Oh, yeah.
So I always do that drive back down to the Keys all the time. So actually, this is my first time flying out of Tallahassee. So I know it's like one terminal.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how early you got to be there or anything.
Because that was the mistake I had when my audio guy flew down from he flew into Miami because we were going down to Bay Grass. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, I'm not driving you all the way down to Miami. You're going to fly out of Tallahassee here.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know how early you got to be there. And so I got him there like 2.5 hours or like 2.5 hours early because I'm so used to like Miami, Lauderdale.
Oh my gosh.
Orlando.
Yeah. You have to be there so early, you know. And
he messaged me like 10 minutes after I dropped him off. He's like, well, I'm waiting at the gate.
Oh, no.
There's nobody else here. The checkout counter or the lady at the front desk or whatever, she was like, oh, you're kind of here early.
Really?
And I'm like, no, my bad.
Oh, goodness.
My bad.
I recently flew out of Long Island, New York, and it's funny enough because I've been to the Tallahassee airport, but I've never flown out, and I've been in the terminal before. I've only flown into Tallahassee once, and I remember getting to that airport and looking around. It's like one terminal, one guy in the security line, and it's like, this reminds me of Tallahassee because you're literally within 5 minutes, and you're done, and then you gotta sit and wait for your flight. So I think I got some good time still.
Sweet. All right. Cool. So what's kind of your plan moving forward with your music as you go?
So moving forward is the number one goal that I have, and kind of what I've made is my like only goal. Because if you have the one goal, then you know you can achieve that and you put all your focus in, is to have a physical CD out again. I think I've spent a lot of time, which was necessary time, in figuring out what I wanted to be as my own solo artist, and what I wanted to sound like, and what I wanted to be putting out as a writer. And so this next part is just now that I'm kind of compiling all the songs that I'm really happy with and I feel represent me, is to actually have a CD out. Because then once you got that out, then you can say to people, hi, like, my name is Leah Sutter. Would you listen to this? You know, if you want to get booked for festivals or different venues or singer-songwriter, events type of thing, it's so necessary to have a CD, have music that you can, especially original music, to be given out. Because I have music out, but it's not where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so important to keep yourself updated in what you're doing. Nice. So that's kind of be my next part in that. And then from there, I mean, I've been playing up and down the Keys and parts of South Florida, like Miami and Fort Lauderdale and that area. But I really want to start getting into shows that showcase more about the original music and the songwriter,
Yeah.
because I can play a 3-4 hour set that has some original music in, but a lot of covers.
Yeah.
And I can do that any place, anytime. And a lot of it is restaurant venues. With the occasional, I do weddings and I'll do private parties and company parties and art gallery stuff, and the occasional like festival that they have in the Keys. But I also want to expand from that and see where else to go, and from there, like, meet new people, meet other songwriters, hear other songwriters perform their stuff. I got a couple festivals I'm interested in Florida as well as in North Carolina and South Carolina that I want to see if I can have a hand in some way. Just to see, like, taking what I do elsewhere, what that would be like, and for different crowds, because the Keys crowd is such a wonderful place.
Yeah.
And growing up there, like, I know a lot of people, and I have an amazing support system down there, as well as the other artists and musicians that are there. Like, they've all seen me grow, and have had a hand in where I'm at now. But it is something to be said about where can you take that next, like, to different people and different audiences, and can you become a better artist from it, but also can you continue to expand yourself and your horizons.
Because there comes a point where you just kind of start to outgrow
Yeah.
your surroundings, and not that you want to leave. It's just it helps you as a musician if you kind of
definitely
mosey on to not. I hate saying it that way,
Right.
but like, try somewhere else and see what happens. And
Yeah, and I think it's also good for the scene that you're in too. It's like, if you have the same artist that's playing there all the time and all the time, then it's not as maybe special as it is when you have something not as often. And that's not to say that the artist in particular isn't special or isn't great or isn't worth going and seeing all the time. But there is something to be said when you can, like, step away for a little while and people kind of like miss you, and then you can come back as a better artist or with newer experiences and new songs, and there's a new appreciation because you've gone somewhere that you've never been before, or you don't know these people and they're new to you and you're new to them, and they can appreciate you in a different way maybe versus where you've been. And then it also is an opportunity of maybe while you're not there, someone else can kind of like shine for a little bit, and then people can have a lot of different variety.
That's how
and
you
where
keep
they're
the music scene fresh. And
absolutely, this is I only have a couple places that are pretty regular. Like a Wednesday night, I'm already there. Thursday night, I'm there. But I try on my weekends to be in a lot of different spots, not on the same regular night, because people like they'll want to hear you play, but maybe they don't want to be at that venue every time they hear you play. But if you're playing somewhere else, then they really like that, and then they come see you play there. So it's good to have variety, and that's why a lot of people, even from the Keys who are musicians, will maybe leave for a couple months, and then they'll gig in another spot or do little tours, and then they'll come back, and their music has been missed, and they've been missed, and it's not fresh in their mind constantly that they're there, and now they have an opportunity to hear you and to see you again. So then they'll go hear you and support you, which just makes for bigger numbers at the venues you play at.
Because that's the cool thing about Florida is you could pretty much stay in state, and the variety of places you have here, you could pretty much do like a 1-month tour around Florida, and you're not like, I mean, you're on tour, but you're not really going that far, but you're
still, though, going to a variety of different places, and there's so many different people. Like, that's why a lot of even, like, artists my age will do, like, a college tour in Florida. So they'll do University of Miami, they may do something in the Keys, hit up Gainesville, hit up Orlando, hit up Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Pensacola, and they'll go to those different spots, or Tampa, and you're going to find a variety of different, experiences at every stop you're at, but you're still staying in Florida.
I've told several musicians, no matter where they're from, they need to do a back to school or some sort of school tour, like especially when tour or school just starts.
Right.
But what do I know? So, is there any plans of doing another band, or are you just primarily focused 100% doing the solo thing? Or
I'm pretty focused at the moment doing what I'm doing. I'm not opposed to like playing music like with other people again. There is something so special about playing with a band, and what me and it's funny enough, it was me and like four other guys. So being like, I always was joked about being like the grandma, and then everyone else had the guys. You had like 4 or 5 of us playing, and and there is something really special about connecting with other people and playing the music and doing the shows and the concerts and the live music was like, oh, it's unreal. Like, I mean, I don't get to have the same feelings sometimes as a solo artist as I did when I was in that band, because it's just this energy you all feed into each other. But I would also like to stay focused on what I'm doing. It's
now, at least being with a band, when you're out traveling, you have somebody you're traveling with, so it's not just you by yourself. I mean, unless
definitely.
you're doing some sort of a tour with somebody else, maybe.
Right.
But, it's
Yeah, I have some memories, some stories of some of our travelings and going. We would play in Jacksonville, we played DeLand, played in South Florida, and like tire blowing out in this trip, and the trailer unhinging in that trip, and the experiences, the people you meet. It is something really cool when you are in a band. But the thing I really enjoy is being a musician that's just myself. Is I am like my own manager. I am, my own PR person. I am my own promoter, and I only have to depend on myself. And there's a lot of purpose in that, and a lot of independence in that, which I have enjoyed as well. And just it being me. And then if I want to do something, I just got to consult myself. If I want to do that.
the success and failure of your music rides on you.
Which is both like an amazing and scary thing, because if it does work, like there's a lot of pride in that because you made it work. And if it doesn't work, then there's a lot of guilt. Like I only have me to blame for that as well. So definitely that, two sides to it. But I'm really enjoying the solo thing for me for now. I think like definitely it's made me stronger in different aspects of being a musician. So it's, I think, been the best for me.
Nice. That's awesome. Where's one place that you really want to play? Like city, state? Is there like a dream location?
Yeah, I would love to play at Red Rocks. Red Rocks or the Gorge. I'm a huge Dave Matthews Band fan, so I've always wanted to see him live at the Gorge. He always does it every September, and I just think those venues they're almost as like the venue is part of the earth. You know what I mean? Like it's not this man-made really thing. When you go to like BB&T Stadium, or something like that, like or American Airlines. It's just you're literally surrounded by nature, and I think it just makes for this really organic experience for the audience and the musician. And I've seen some live shows, videos of people performing there, and people saying it was one of their favorite venues, and I have an appreciation for that, for other people who love that experience. So
I haven't been to Red Rocks yet, but it is a bucket list item. Because I've seen the videos, I've seen the photos, seen the videos, seen everybody living out in New Mexico. A lot of bands would promote, oh, hey, I'm trying to get on the bill with so-and-so. They're playing at Red Rocks, because it wasn't really that far of a drive. And if they got a chance to open for somebody, is there trying to I already asked that. Never mind. So what's the what? I guess I'll go right into this question because this is a question that I don't close, but it's like one of the primary questions I always ask. Why music?
Why music? I think it's funny that you say that question because I think immediately like the response in my head is why not
Yeah,
music?
that's a common
Um,
one.
I was very fortunate in where I grew up in the Keys, and the family I had that were absolutely 100% supportive of what I did. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they never implanted anything in my head of doubt or fear of playing music, which it cannot be spoken for everybody, you know? And I just always felt when I was singing, that's where I felt the most confident. That's when I knew what I had to say and I would say it. I felt the most me. You know, I can get on a stage and I'm more fearful of speaking in front of people than singing.
Yeah.
Like, the moment I get up there, it's just like, it's just turned on and it's just me. And um, I've done a lot of different things and I have a lot of other passions and stuff that I do, but when it comes back to it, I always have just feel the happiest when I am singing in front of people and when I get people coming up to me and saying like, "Oh, that song meant so much to me," or "Oh, you played the song me and my husband 30 years ago danced to at our wedding," or "Oh my goodness, like that song is my favorite song. Thank you for playing that." Like there's just that connection that you have with people that can be so easy when you play music, and it's just something that's always come naturally and I've always come back to, and you know it's just like why not, so why not do it. And when you have the support behind you as well and the encouragement, it is a huge push too. So that's just I've always had with me.
Yeah. Music is the universal language.
Oh, definitely.
I've really started to learn that over the last few years as we've kind of dove into this project that we've been doing.
Oh, right, definitely.
Yeah. What advice do you have for younger musicians that are just starting out? Maybe they want to start playing live shows. You know, what kind of advice do you have for them?
My biggest advice is if it's what makes you happy, you got to do it because, you know, I think life is way too short to not be doing something that you love. Um, Definitely, you know, you want to do live music. I think it's good to like know an instrument. For me, that was always guitar with singing. And you know, if you can get that, if you're wanting to be a solo musician like what I'm doing, I think it's like find your instrument you're grounded in, and then get really good at that in practice. And I've had the privilege of teaching some people before and teaching guitar, and I always find the easiest way to learn, and how I learned a lot of it too, was find the songs that are your favorite songs that you love to perform, that you love to sing, that you love to play, and just learn those songs. Like 5 songs. And you learn that, and each song you learn, you build upon. And soon after you start building your set because of it's all the songs you really enjoy. And you practice and you understand yourself as a person, and you decide, you have to make a decision like, I want to do this. I want to play music, and I'm going to play music in front of people. And then just put yourself out there, which can be an extremely scary process.
Yeah.
And sometimes things go well, and sometimes you get told no. And you just have to trust that you put in the hard work and you love it and it's worth it. And you continue on in that. And, you know, don't be afraid to just be yourself. I think that's another one. You know, you only got you, so then be the artist that's just you. I think would probably be my advice. Yeah, and surround yourself with people who are supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been able to do half the things I've done if I didn't have my friends that show up to my gigs and have shown up to help me set up and break down and have bought T-shirts and have helped me sell tickets. Like, if you got your friends there and then other people see them supporting you, then they kind of fall on the bandwagon with them, and then all of a sudden you have like a fan base, and and then it really makes playing music a lot easier too.
Yeah. What was it about the guitar that you decided why the guitar?
Mm-hmm. Well, my parents, both play guitar, and I'm the youngest of four. My eldest sibling, especially, always played guitar when she was in high school and sang, and I watched that growing up, and I watched my parents, and I watched my dad play, and I was really inspired by them. And my dad got me my first guitar when I was 13. Didn't know whether I was going to pick it up and start playing it, or if it was going to gather dust in the corner. And as soon as my dad gave me that guitar, and he taught me my first song, which was Dimming of the Day, and I just fell in love with it. I just would sit in my room, and I had all these songs I loved to play and I loved to sing, and I would start learning them and getting Ultimate Guitar up on my computer and start learning chords to play them, and then you learn another song and you learn more chords because of that, and it just became so intriguing and so much fun. And I just wanted to be like my parents, or wanted to be like my sister, and I already had loved to sing, but I wanted to play music with it so I could sing to it, something in the background, and guitar just became like the first instant like connection I had.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, it's getting close to 6, so I'll give you time to get to your airport. But before we close this up, where can people find your schedule, your tour, show dates, social media, all that fun stuff?
Yeah. So I have a website. It's Leah, Leah Sutter, Sutter, music.com. That has all my shows, where I play. It has some music on there, photos, get in contact with me for any reason. It has it on there. And then I have a Facebook music page, and it's just leah.suter.music. That's the / for Facebook. And that's pretty much the direct way of getting in touch with me and hearing stuff, seeing reviews, all that kind of thing. So.
Do you have any upcoming shows coming up?
Yeah, I play about 4 or 5 nights a week in the Keys.
Okay.
I play regularly on Wednesday nights at the Green Turtle, which is a very famous restaurant and venue in the Keys in Amarada.
Okay.
I'm regularly there all the time, as well as their other restaurant, Cayo, on Thursday nights. And I have a really exciting event on Sunday, the Florida Keys Brewing Company.
Okay. Favorite brewing?
Oh, it's
I love
awesome.
it.
Oh, yeah. So they just opened like a new beer garden tap room, which is right in Marauder Way.
I haven't been there since they've opened that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was there as they were kind of in the process of finishing it up. So I've seen like the way they have the new back courtyard, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
I've been there since they've redone that. It's really nice.
Yeah, they're doing an awesome job, and they're really expanding. They were just at a beer fest in Miami, I think, like a week or two ago. So it's amazing to see that, getting across Florida in different places, and in the Keys, and down even into Key West. So I'm playing at that beer garden on Sunday, this coming Sunday from 3 to 7, which will be a really awesome time. I'm excited about that.
Is it a special event that they're putting on, or is it just
this is their first series. They've had like a couple different artists, but their first series of having actual live music there, because they've had it at the regular brewery, but they're just now starting to have music here. So I'm one of like the first few that are coming through in that series of Sunday music, which is exciting. And see how it goes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's the brewing company, so that's a I think exciting show for people to come to and stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming up and making time. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Thank you.
Next time I'm down in the Keys, we'll have to get together and see if we can do some videos or something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And we will see you all next time.